right, daily trading recap for this Thursday, the 13th of January, 2022. Another day of full paper for me. I was away from my computer for the entire market hours I had. I was able to catch a little bit of pre-market today and do some plotting, some screening, some scanning, but nothing much after that, and some other family stuff for the afternoon. So was not in front of the market for much of what the market hours offered today, but really not a lot that's piquing my interest for anything moving crazy. I just did do a few kind of, again, blank, similar to what I would do normally for an entry point of just kind of blanket entry of, hey, I think the sentiment for this chart today is down or is up. And I did that with 3-4 tickers here. So just kind of played them that way, and they all ended up being pretty much how I thought they were. Not any of them losers, but not all of them great winners. But I'll just get into that a little bit. Just very quick and brief breakdown of those for the little amount of time I did spend in front of the computer today. SPY little 1.3% day in the red today. A little pullback after this dip bounce attempt after that all-time high slap again. So we'll see if we start to break that low, that dip day that happened on the 10th of this month. Trend closer to maybe that 450 area of support if that becomes any key area of inflection again, or if we just go zigzag Willy Wonka again, but closing pretty weakly there on the day for the overall market. Dollar volume, NASDAQ showing $202 billion volume only traded today as of 2 hours, 15 minutes after the close here. NYSE, $273 billion volume. OTC is $2.1 billion volume. They're pretty low in regards to interest for that on a Thursday as well. And not a lot of red name activity in the chat again today. Putting like Art of War, having a few little mentions there of what he was looking at in the morning, but just again, taking the lesson or indication from them, the better term there, of if there's a time to go long, time to go short, and then there's a time to go fishing. And it's kind of it. There's always opportunity. I'm going to say that every single day. There is always opportunity to make money. When there's price movements, there is opportunity to make money there. And there's certainly even some of these patterns today, easily recognizable, and I was a part of them, movements to be a part of. But gosh, yeah, it's just in me trying to force more leveraging of myself, not actual leverage, but just of leveraging myself more, of pushing harder on the gas pedal, of throwing more size, throwing more actual trades on, or taking actual trades. It's just that conviction for me right now in this type of market is just not, for me, so convicted in. And it's, yeah, the tough situation that, had I, if I had a real, or if I'm further along in my trading career and I have the padding of a bigger account size, 6-figure account size talking about, or how I can play it that way of, then I can absolutely start to take these little trades and use my risk level that way. Whereas now still in my trading career at this point of still trying to just barely make it above that PDT mark of, gosh, I can't, it's not that I'm wasting day trades, but it's just I don't feel the full playbook trades are there for me to just feel so convicted to take what I have to consider a big position size for me right now in order to start to take those steps in order to eventually make it to that 6-figure, 7-figure trading account size. It's just having the perspective to understand it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it doesn't have to happen today. But great experience all around again. Let's get into some tickers here, starting off with ISPC. Man, no shares to short or to borrow through Trade Zero. Very keen in on this one for a morning dump strategy. This one did have a little bit of a run these past start or the end of the year last year, and still some fading downness from that point in time. But yeah, whatever newscast it was, I'm not going to go into the fundamental aspect of it, but gosh, yeah, frustrating to have to kind of sit there when there's no shares available to short, seeing these key levels and kind of playing around in my head with, as I'm watching the time and sales level 2 in this one for the time I did have in pre-market of, okay, I'm seeing failure to maintain price action at VWAP here, these little dips below, probably would have get short around here. Okay, it's faking out there, it's bouncing back above. Playing around in my head with, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut. As it's breaking this 8.4 level, let's just cut. Let's just do what it wants to do mentally that I'm in this. I'm not even like verbalizing it out. I'm not even taking a paper trade, but just saying, okay, let's try this strategy to be adjusting that risk profile level of I want to see this thing die a bleeding death, respect that VWAP point, and then just never even return and show any amount of strength to that. So it did have a little perk off of that, and then, of course, dumped hard under there, which at one point I'm watching it the whole way for this red candle saying, okay, I would get back in here, and sure enough, it did start to peel off a little bit more, have another little fake-out attempt with VWAP, a little perk again, then dunk below there, and just a nice slow fade that does try to perk to VWAP once again just before market open. That I wasn't there for that, and then full death sentiment, just bleeding longs the entire day. Little, you could call them double top or double bottomy attempts there as a long of trying to play any of that, but they just did not have the strength or legs to bring it any closer back to VWAP there. So nice morning dump setup on that one that did not get to be a part of. DWAC I'll mention next. Still holding my one golden share. Let's see if I get, okay, there we go. Still holding my one golden share from 57 back here on this day. Real true breakout day happening yesterday, breaking above this high from the middle of December off of that little run up. So starting in on this longer swing term trade on this, when was that? The 11th that I started in on that trade, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to be, I took the safe profit little trade on a second share that I played as it was double bottoming there, and knowing with this share, hey, let's push it a little bit more. I think there's definitely $70 in the works from yesterday that we did surpass. And then coming in today, okay, let's see if this breakout energy for how it's holding pretty decently well, not insanely awesome, coming into after hours and pre-market today. But let's see if we can get any more activity and any craziness back in this ticker once again. Little sell-off right out of the gate, but sure enough, finds a bottom, plays around with VWAP, double bottoms here, perks back above to new high of day market hours, and yeah, I wasn't watching any of this, but does get the tap to 74, and sure enough, the first chink in the armor for this run-up came right during the lunch session, afternoon session there, and closing a little bit down intraday, showing minus 5% in the red from the close yesterday. That would be so we'll see if it does want to consolidate. I think my cut point would be for the powerful position that I'm in to be able to hold this thing with just a clear and open perspective. I can call it an obvious and easy risk point to say $62. If it starts to trend all the way below there, all the way to there, and start to be looking weak at that point, I'm going to be thinking, man, I don't think the full breakout should be testing that low if it's going to rise any higher above 74, if it's going to come that low. So that would be a potential cut point. And even my brain wants to say, okay, $60 if that high from this Monday of this week, and maybe the little pullback it did have on that Tuesday, that day that I entered on that one. If that's $60, because that is a more of a psychological whole dollar level of 60 round number there, if that becomes a risk level point of, I've got a lot of options to be able to risk this for if it does want to have a little bit more pullback or a little bit more drawn out consolidation before any higher attempt for a new breakout or any more parabolic attempt there. So it'll be interesting to see what it wants to do. And then, yeah, I'm not going to try to, I joke around to say that like I'm not selling until 100 on this share, but gosh, if the volume starts to come, if key things start to happen, crazier things have happened. I mean, this thing went to 175. Crazier things have happened, but that is kind of expecting lightning to strike twice at times. But yeah, for the one share that I am trading it of the actual position size, trying to hold myself accountable to that, I gotta let the thing play out and totally prove that it's dying and not going to have the full breakout again or any craziness left in it for me to be committed to taking this thing off. But that'll be interesting to watch. SBEV, these four that I'll mention now, these were all the paper ones that I was mentioning in the introduction of. They weren't even paper. They were just kind of like, I don't want to take actual trades as I have to leave the computer and go away. And I don't really want to take even paper trades. I'm just kind of betting on a thesis of, hey, I see these charts here. I think they're going to do this. So SBEV, we're in this third day, surge day from the first green day on Tuesday. It's holding pretty decently, putting higher lows on this second day. I think we could see some more long opportunity, some more breakout opportunity for how the daily was looking. And sure enough, did. I'm not going to go in the fundamentals on any of these. These are just going to be quick little breakthroughs. But yeah, these were just kind of like shot in the dark or just kind of a blanket strategy to say, okay, I can remember in my head, but I'm just going to put it on the chart to say, hey, I think this chart goes up today. Sure enough, it does hold pretty decently out of the open. Has a nice little perk just under $2. Awesome little trade on that one. Had I been getting long around that time frame. IMRN, second day short play. I feel the sentiment on these ones is just weakness and death coming from that first green day overnight into the second day that produces even more of just bleeding and non-activity on these charts. And sure enough, that is what happened again. Not awesome or insane, getting under just 3.7 there. I could call it for a short, and it does top just like at 3.4 or bottom at 3.4-ish. So not insane or huge, beautiful sell-off craziness, but opportunity was there and certainly was a part of it to the short side. IMMX, same thing, second day short, opening week today with not a lot of volume lacking, just selling off right out of the gate, continuing to dumps all the way to 5.6. Same type of thing, just like, hey, I think the thing's going down. Let's just blanket strategy. I got to go away. I know that I would be tempted to go short this one. Sure enough, that's the way it goes. So we'll take it for what it's worth. ECOR, another one, the last one, a little bit different of a first screen day, that it was just a weird, choppy, almost insignificant move in the pre-market for that first green day, but did have more activity and bigger percentage moves, and it's a sub-dollar, of course, but more activity into the close there, so making it a little bit different than those other ones, the SBEVs, the IMRNs, the IMMXs, in regards to the category classification of a first screen day. For it's just kind of all the activities right in that pre-market and morning session, and then just the rest of the day, whereas ECOR is a little bit different. But sure enough, again, thinking, hey, second day, just really have not been seeing a lot of activity on these second days. Let's just play that short sentiment. And for this one, I could just say it didn't spike against me, which would completely disqualify and go against my thesis of, hey, I think there's just going to be nothing today. It's going to be death and bleeding. And when that happens, it's usually selling off that price. There's just no demand, and there's a lot of supply still with bag holders overhead looking to push this one down. So just went sideways the whole day, really nothingness day, but yeah, not going against me crazy. So just kind of checking off boxes and still involving myself with the market when I can't really be right in front of the computer screen for this day specifically, and making the most out of the situation and kind of confirming the theses that I did have. And, that's just a weird strategy of how that works sometimes it does take stepping away from the screen in order to make a profitable trade, and that's the best way that I do like to trade, and I feel like that's why I gravitate more towards those ISPCs types of trades. This morning dump setup of find your entry point parameters of what you want to see for that entry. And I can trick myself out, and I start to play again more and more and fiddle with okay, well, if it does actually start to hold and perk back above VWAP, then you cut it and wait till it actually confirms again. So you can adjust the risk profile there, and you don't have to wait to cut it till the new high of day gets met there inevitably on most of these ones that end up being contributing to the non-win rate ones on these style of trades. But other than that, you find your entry point and you just let it sit and go, and you can keep the price as a watch list ticker in the corner, but you just don't even really look at the level 2 and time and sales. Definitely don't even really look at the chart. You just put in your limit orders for covers of price targets you're looking for. You can kind of keep a key eye on, okay, if it's starting to hold here, it's not really moving or continuing to push lower, maybe we can cover a little bit into this. But gosh, yeah, that's the strategy that I just like to be a part of. It's the ride is taking the boat down this river, and it's just going to continue to go that way. It's not really a huge dilemma of where you get in and where you get off. It's just always going to continue to go down river. So being a part of those style of trades where you can be a little bit wrong and still have that buffer window, and it's not just so hardly defined by having to get in at this key entry point of that double bottom and then selling exactly at this precise top, having your limit order in already before the price even comes close to that point, so you can get on top of the order entry list, get up before everybody else, and then it just ducks off you. Dealing with that mind game. I know there's going to be definitely a lot of trades in the future that I like to do off of that, but I feel my personality is definitely best suited to just the chart for this today is death and shorting. And you can get your seat, get your ticket anywhere you want, and you're going to be in the money a good part of the way, if not the whole entire way. So that is really all I had. Keeping it nice and short and simple for this day. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We'll see what the next few days, the rest of this month wants to bring. If we're not going to fight it, we got to accept of what the market is and keep the perspective open of how everybody in the grandma can say, gosh, there's just no opportunity out there. It's just a slow and weak market. I love Stephen Duck's new post that he's not doing stock trade recaps anymore. He's doing his car recaps anymore because there's just nothing to trade. I think that's awesome for his millionaire status. But not necessarily listening to that and keeping that perspective in mind and say, hey, a lot of these people, the majority of people, this day trading community would say, hey, there's just not a lot of craziness or awesome volatility to be a part of. But again, also keeping the perspective of somebody's making money. Somebody is manipulating this thing. Somebody is profiting off of it, day trading similar to what we could be doing. What are those perspectives aligned to or compared to the other perspectives? And just making sure that all of those perspectives are equally met and seen and recognized, and not just so blinding ourselves to we get so stuck in this rut and fail to recognize the awesome opportunity that we may be missing if we just get so caught up in the eternal circle of our own lies and deceit that, oh, there's just nothing to trade. There's just nothing to trade. That when the hot market actually comes, we're still on that circle just going, oh, there's nothing to trade. There's just nothing to trade. look what's right in front of you. Keep that open perspective and fresh paradigm into every single day. That is all I have. Philosophical Brent checking out for the day. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.